Bye. Pastimes that you've left behind in your 40s. I recently saw a video where they showcase kids under the age of 10 unboxing items considered relics from the 80s and 90s to see how many of them they could identify. Among the items were a CD player, VHS tape, and an Atari game system. While I wasn't at all surprised that they couldn't identify any of the former items, I was shocked to see that many of them weren't able to identify a landline telephone. As bizarre as it sounds, it's quite possible that most kids have never seen a telephone larger than the palm of their hand. Never mind one that is bolted to the kitchen wall and equipped with a cord so long you could use it to mummify your little brother and finally make him disappear. Seeing the landline phone reminded me of how I used to spend endless hours chatting on it, as it was one of my favorite activities. Oh, how we longed to have a cord just long enough to reach our bedroom and close the door so we didn't have to whisper. Eventually, cordless phones became popular, making it easier to talk and move around the house. That is, until the battery ran low and it needed to be returned to the base. Fast forward to my fabulous 40s, and I'd rather send a carrier pigeon with a message than pick up the phone. It made me reflect on other activities I loved when I was younger, but no longer enjoy and probably avoid now. So, let's take a stroll down memory lane and discuss some pastimes you might have left behind in your 40s. Talking on the phone, the great escape. Remember when the phone would ring and you would dash through the house with your socks on, slipping and sliding across the linoleum kitchen floor just to be the first one to pick it up? And if it was the call from a certain someone that you were anxiously anticipating, you practically had to contain yourself from bursting with excitement. Nowadays, if I need to make a phone call, I have to schedule it a week in advance, rehearse the conversation in my head a million times, and when it's time to make the call, give myself a mini pep talk. You got this. What's so interesting is that back in the day, talking on the phone was not a cheap hobby. Making a phone call to someone who didn't live around the corner usually meant that you had to either make the call during evening hours when it was less expensive, remember from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., use a phone card, or be prepared to fork over some serious cash when the bill came at the end of the month, especially after spending 4 hours catching up with your bestie who moved out of state about the unbelievable series finale of your favorite rom-com. Now, with platforms like WhatsApp, FaceTime, Zoom, etc., you can spend endless hours video calling people from all over the world without spending a dime. Despite this freedom to call, texting has, without a doubt, become my preferred form of communication. And showing my face on camera when it's not work-related and mandatory? That's highly unlikely. And it's not that I don't enjoy catching up with good friends, but I find daily phone conversations exhausting and prefer a simple text or thumbs up emoji if you're still alive. Depending on the recipient, if I haven't heard from them in either a day, week, or maybe a few months, I'll send the police to their house to do a wellness check. Don't you just love your forever friends? Going to the movies, from blockbusters to boredom. When I was younger, going to the movies to watch a film on the big screen was something to look forward to. Spending an evening with friends, munching on a bucket of overpriced popcorn, and catching a sneak peek of upcoming films always filled me with excitement. However, these days, the idea of leaving the cozy comfort of my home in my pajamas to sit in a cold and noisy theater no longer appeals to me. At home, I happily binge watch my favorite movies. With comfortable pants and the ability to pause whenever I need a bathroom break without missing the climax, it's a far more relaxing experience. The $20 I would have spent on overly salted popcorn at the theater can be used to make the same amount on my stove for about 50 cents. A recent report indicates that 80% of people prefer streaming movies at home rather than going to the theaters, showing I'm not alone in this preference. However, since I lack surround sound and IMAX at home, I might miss some of the effects that the theater offers. But if it's a high quality movie, I will enjoy it on my 32-inch LG TV or even my 4G Samsung Galaxy phone. Going out to eat. The perils of public dining. Dining out was once a thrilling adventure. I fondly recall trying out the new trendy restaurant that just opened up around the corner or enjoying a night out on the town. However, in my 40s, dining out in general tends to leave a sour taste in my mouth and a disappointing dent in my bank account. The idea of waiting in long lines, hearing loud conversations, and eventually receiving a hefty bill, especially if the food and service are mediocre, no longer excites me. Honestly, almost every time my husband and I think about trying a new restaurant, we end up talking ourselves out of it. We generally spend like 30 minutes playing conversation ping pong with the same questions. Where do you want to eat? I'm good with anything. What do you want? Once frustration and hunger set in, eventually, I just end up cooking something quick or we settle for the usual pizza or Chinese. Or if I'm feeling whimsical, I'll find a restaurant inspired recipe on Pinterest to make at home. While it's fun to dress up and explore the town now and then, nothing beats enjoying a good meal in my sweatpants without worrying about anyone judging my outfit. A look back with a smile. And there you have it, a nostalgic look back on 3 activities I once enjoyed but now opt to avoid as I journey through my 40s. Aging is an amusing adventure, and although my tastes have shifted, it's all about adjusting and finding new ways to enjoy life. Here's to those evenings of endless phone calls, exciting movie nights, and trendy dining experiences. They'll always hold a special place in my heart from my youth. As long as I can think back to them while streaming my favorite movie, eating home cooked meal, and texting a friend all at the same time. What about you? What are some pastimes that you've left behind in your 40s? Do you still enjoy talking on the phone, going to the movie theater, and going out to eat? Please share your comments below. And as always, like and share this post.